Welcome to First Garden, New Gardener. I'm Joey Baird. We're on the high end of the garden in our brassicas bed where we have some red cabbage. We threw some sweet corn in the bed because we had some extra. And we also have broccoli and cauliflower here, which we have now deemed a failure. But with one failure brings an opportunity for another planting. Just because we were unsuccessful with the broccoli and cauliflower here, I'm going to leave this plant just because it's a little bit bigger than these other ones. This, in addition to a bed in the back side of the garden, we are going to call it a failure, scratch it, rip the plants up, and then we're going to plant some bush beans that we know we'll have a harvest on in about 45 to 50 days. Now, with the broccoli, we made a run at it. We thought we could try something different this year. It was unsuccessful, but it's okay because that's part of this. Having a failure with one crop, giving you the opportunity to plant something else. But we don't want to just leave this bed feral, just let it go and wait until next year to try again. We have a limited amount of time here in gardening during the summer months, so we want to take advantage of every spot we have available. So we're just going to rip these plants up, rework this soil in addition to the bed in the back, and we'll get some bush beans planted in this spot. Okay, so I've got this bed reworked, fluffed the soil again, which didn't need much because we're not walking on it on the soil with our new raised berm format. Now, beans was just something that we decided to plant. There's many different options that you can go and try to plant in this area. We got a lot of good worm activity going on here. That's always a great sign. There's a number of things that you could plant in this area based on your growing area. For us, we could have planted squash, we could plant summer squash, some sweet corn, bush beans, which we are doing, cucumbers, or a variety of other things. You could also put some carrots in here as well. So we're just going to plant in this area the bush beans. As you see, I'm taking my garden fork, raking up and loosening all the clods and then any roots, getting them out, because anytime you leave anything like the roots, they will propagate from that and they will regrow and you will still have a mess of weeds. So always get as many roots out as possible. For example, there's a long root there. So we're just doing regular, ordinary bush beans. I'm going to strike off a couple rows here. You want to plant these, break that clod up. You want to plant these about a ½ inch deep. And I'm going to go a foot apart because I can get in here and it's a small width of a bed. Now, if you're doing this in a long row, I would not recommend doing a foot apart. I would go about 24 to 30 inches apart so you have plenty of room to get in and harvest these beans. Since we're in close quarters here and we can easily access the beans on both sides, 1 foot will be more than adequate. So we'll just drop them in ½ inch. And we want to space these ½ inch deep and about 4 inches apart. So we'll just get those planted. I'm going to get about 5 plants across here. Beans are one of them plants you can plant a little more on the thicker side and they still will produce relatively well here. Now, this particular bean is a black turtle bean. All right, I got those all planted. And then I just take my tine here on my fork and just drag across, and you're looking at 10 to 14 days. You're going to see these come up. If your soil is extremely dry, you want to go ahead and water. We don't need to for this application. Now we're going to go work on the bed in the back. So this is the other bed here. We've got some red cabbage, which we find that we grow very successfully. For some reason, not broccoli and cauliflower, but this bed here, I'm going to pull this all out, rework the soil, and plant beans in here as well. Now, on the back side of the garden, we are in partial shade from about noon on. That gives us about 6 hours or so of sunlight in the morning. Beans can tolerate partial shade, which means they can tolerate under 8 hours. So we're okay with that particular aspect of gardening. Be sure you check what type of vegetable you're growing, where you're growing it, if it can be shade tolerant or if it needs full sun. Thanks for watching. Join us again next time. This has been First Garden, New Gardener.
For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.